Welcome everyone to our second Brick by Brick Builders Clubs. And during each of these sessions, we will be taking a deep dive into the technical and creative process of builders, creators, innovators, and amazing devs like Nico. And for today, it is Nico. And for those who don't know him, he is the SDK and editor product manager for Decentraland Foundation. And today, Nico will be diving into portable experiences, smart wearables, and the new feature to perform custom emotes. So thank you so much, Nico, for taking the time and joining us today. And with that, I'll pass it to you.
Sure. Thank you so much for selecting us. I know that the spirit of this new blog, Brick by Brick, is more about exploring what creators have built. This is more about exploring what you can use as creators and a few new things that are available to your toolboxes, and try to inspire you guys to try these things out and see what you can create with this. SDK 7 is out, as you all know, and pretty much all of the things we'll be covering today will be features that have been added for SDK 7, not for SDK 6. All of the development that we're doing in the foundation is, always on SDK 7, and SDK 6 is in maintenance mode. We are trying to, keep it bug-free, but we're not planning on, building anything on top of that for now. That's a bit of encouragement to try to get you to, if you haven't yet already, give SDK 7 a try and see about migrating projects there, because that's where all the new fun stuff will be happening. I don't know if everyone is already familiar with this, but this is a new page where we have our example scenes. So back in the past, we had the good old awesome repository, which is a place I'm very fond of. There's a lot of great stuff here, but it's always been a bit of a point of friction, especially for the less technical people, since this is a GitHub page, right? You load this and you see this. You don't have a very clear idea of where you have to go, and if you're not already very much accustomed to GitHub, this might be completely disorienting and confusing to just see this page like that. So instead, this new examples page is a much friendlier way to approach navigating examples. So you can also try to filter things out and see only the easy examples, only intermediate examples, only things that have to do with game mechanics, or only things that are on SDK 7, or only things on SDK 6, only things which are libraries, and so on. So I encourage you to check this out, as this is the place where we will be publishing all new examples. We're also in the process of migrating a lot of the old examples from SDK 6 to SDK 7, and we'll be publishing those here. Day by day, we'll be adding more of those here. So going on to the next slide. So we have a bunch of tutorials also about using SDK 7, and specifically about using SDK 7 with the editor. So combining both the power of dragging and dropping with a nice UI with writing code that goes with it. So I'm not going to go into detail about the things that I show in these videos, but you can check out these videos, and I think they're a good place to start in case you want to try that path out. And you can find them by searching for Decentraland in YouTube, and you'll see that they are a few of the latest videos that we've uploaded here, these that have a big SDK 7 title. So the next feature I wanted to cover is a very brand new thing, which is the new web editor for SDK 7. So if you go to a builder page, and you go over to scenes and create a new scene, you'll notice that there's something that is new there. So say you want to go to create scene, start from scratch, let's give it a name. Let's give it a size. And now I'm given a choice that I wasn't presented with before. I can use the Decentraland Web Editor, which is the SDK 7 editor, or I can use the legacy scene builder, which is the one that has been around since forever, which still uses SDK 6. And so if I use the new editor, I'm basically using the same editor that is bundled with Visual Studio Code when I create scenes using the Studio Code extension, but I can use this in the web. I don't have to install a single thing. I'm just able to just drag and drop things into my scene and edit them without having gone through a single installation or setting up anything in my machine. I know Factilians, you had some issues with permissions and some like nasty operating system bugs that really got in the way. You wouldn't have that at all if you just use this editor. Now, there's of course a limitation to this, which is that you're only really using the visual editor for building stuff. You don't have access to what you would have in the. So, for example, if I opened the same thing with the Visual Studio Code, which is what I have here, I have the extension for the Decentraland, which presents me with this screen. I can open the inspector, which would present me with this same UI that I'm seeing here in the builder, but I wouldn't have access to writing code. I wouldn't have access to go into typing things in index.ts, and like I would only have the nice and visual side of the story. So with that limitation, really, I'm only able to create scenes that are static. I'm only able to create things that are meant to be looked at but not played with, let's say. I can't, that is a limitation that we have today because the editor is still lacking the feature of smart items. That is the next thing that we will embark in. In fact, like today we had a kickoff meeting to start the development of that. It will take some time, but it's a complicated project. But like that is like the next thing in our agenda, to have smart items within this editor. But for now, if you want to have any kind of thing interactive in the scene, what you have to do is click this download button and download your scene as a zip file. And then with that, you can open the project with the Visual Studio Code extension. So if I now search my my downloads folder, you'll see that there is a folder which contains all of the files for the scene that I just created, and I could just open that. Could close this and folder. Let's go right to downloads brick by brick. Yes, I trust the authors. It was myself. Now, if I open the extension tab, like it's updating it right now. So let's give it a couple of seconds. But now we can open the inspector here and continue working on it just as I was able to in the web version. But I can also jump into the code and add code really here to do any kind of interactive stuff with my scene. Still installing dependencies. Yeah, that's like to update something here. So yeah, that's for now what you can do with the editor. But as I mentioned before, this is like stage one. We are already in like working on adding a whole new like set of capabilities that would pretty much enable us to have like complete feature parity with the old builder, but also have a lot more powerful options. Like this editor already has some things that were not quite possible in the editor in the old builder before. So, for example, say I'm trying to think of a good way to represent this with some items. Table somewhere. But I have this carpet here. And let's say that I want to put this parasol on the carpet, and I want to make sure that the parasol and the carpet are a unit. Like if I wanted to move these things together, I would have to do it separately. But if I set the beach umbrella as a parent of the rug, now if I move the rug, both move together. If I rotate the rug, both move together. But I could still move the beach umbrella on its own because it's, I'm moving the child. I can either move the child freely, or I can move the parent with all of the children attached to it, basically. That's one minor feature that was not quite possible with the old builder. That does become possible with this new editor. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more coming. Anyway, let's jump back to my presentation. But if there's any questions, by the way, feel free to interrupt me to ask me, because I'm gonna be changing subjects quite drastically one time and time again. So
I know it's I think it's been answered before. Is for the world deploy in the is that upcoming, or what is the time frame for that?
So it is to deploy from here to Worlds. It's a good question. I mean, I'm under the impression that that would already be possible.
Really? Oh, cool.
So if I go to publishing, yeah, it's already there.
Cool. Okay. I tried on the Visual Studio Code and it didn't open up.
Oh, it is possible there as well. Yes. So it's frankly this needs some better UX because it was built in a bit of a hurry. But yes, if you click the publish scene here, you're not going to be offered that option. But if you click these three dots here, you will see that there's publish to world or even to custom server, test server. The options are all there. But they aren't visible at all. Yes, sorry about that. So coming back to my presentation here. Next topic, avatar animations by scene. This is something that I am really excited about. This is a feature that allows you to play animations just like emotes, but as part of a scene's content. So I want to open the slideshow to see the video. There we go. So notice that if I click on the box, player performs an animation, and if now I click like the E button, I play another animation. So this is a very minor and stupid example. By the way, the snowball is not part of the animation, but in this case, I'm just attaching an entity to the player's hand, and it works just the same. So if you might have heard that there is a whole emote week or a couple of weeks, I'm not really sure, but there's like a whole set of like educational events with ISA giving tutorials and stuff going on right now. That's more oriented towards emotes, but actually all of the content that you see there applies just as well to creating these kinds of scene animations. Like in fact, in these scenes we're using like exactly the same kind of asset, a file uploaded from, you can build them in Blender just the same as you build a remote. You're just attaching this file as part of the scene's assets, and then you just call that as an animation. So,
People, is there any way you can restart the stream once and see if people can possibly see it because they're having issues seeing the stream?
Sure. So you say I should stop, share my screen, and then start again? Sure.
That might help you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, of course. Okay, let's hope that's a for one.
Okay.
Is it working?
It's working for me. Hopefully for other people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Super, sure. All right, so this feature is actually a lot more powerful than it seems in the surface. I mean, on one hand, you can use it, just to enhance a single player game with some more flair and having it be more, more engaging and like playing animations that are relevant to the things that your character is doing in the scene. But there's more to it in the sense that one, the animations are not just seen by the player who's running these animations, but also by other people. So it also makes multiplayer games a lot more engaging, makes it a lot more clear what other players are doing. So like, yeah, like imagine, for example, Wonder Mine. If you could like see that other people are actually mining meteors and not just standing there idle, that gives you a lot more information about what activities are going on around you. So you're always otherwise trying to guess, what people are doing if they've completely abandoned the machine or if they're actively engaging on something. Like unless they move, you don't even know if they're active. So through these kinds of animations, you can do a whole lot more. But there's even more to that. But first, I'm going to dive into another topic and then come back to this. Oh, sorry. There's still people who can't see me.
Yeah, but it's being recorded, so yeah.
Okay.
I'll have it up soon.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. So, okay, the next topic has to do with kinds of content that we can create. So from the very start, Decentraland had just one kind of content, which is you create scenes that can be uploaded to land parcels. So you deploy your scene to one or multiple adjacent land parcels, and like that is the only place where the SDK was possible to be used. A few months ago, we added worlds. So now, besides being able to deploy your content like linked to a land parcel, you can also deploy your content linked to a name, and that is what we call worlds. And now you can publish with like a lot less overhead, and with very different limitations, which let you have a lot more room. And yeah, like there's very interesting trade-offs there. So what has been added in the past few weeks, which you may or may not have heard, is the possibility of a whole category of what we call global scenes or portable experiences. So on one hand, you have the normal portable experiences, which are basically global scenes that are carried with you, that are loaded from a scene. So you visit a scene, and this scene, like a scene that is either in a land parcel or in a world. And if this scene has a one-liner that just says load this portable experience, then suddenly this player will be carrying that portable experience with them wherever they go. And the other category of these is smart wearables. So these are portable experiences that are linked, global scenes that are linked to a wearable. And the idea is that if you own that wearable and you put it on, you're turning off that portable experience. You put up, you, so you remove that wearable and you turn that portable experience off. So essentially, both these forms of global scenes are the same. They have the same limitations. The only difference is how they are turned on and off. And I link this with the previous feature I was explaining, the avatar animations by scene, because there's a very interesting interrelation between these that some people might not be aware of. If you so one limitation that we've always had with portable experiences, whether they come from a name or if they come from a wearable, is that they're very single clear experiences, right? Like you're carrying with you something that only you can see. It's like having an imaginary friend. Like it's like having goggles to see something else, but other people won't be seeing that simply because they're not running the portable experience locally on their machine. So if there's any art assets or sound or things that relate to that portable experience, they're not loaded in someone else's environment. So if I'm running around with a portable experience, you don't have that same portable experience active, you won't be seeing the things that relate to that portable experience. However, animations done by an avatar behave just like the animations that any avatar does when in the world. So if I download a portable experience which makes me dance, everyone else around me will also be seeing me dance, even if they don't have that portable experience. So that adds a whole other layer of interactivity and the ability to share experiences with others, even if they're not running that content locally themselves. So yeah, I thought that was a really interesting, exciting thing that like really enhances portable experiences. For example, in the past we've done some examples with a jetpack, and even though it was a whole lot of fun to fly around with a jetpack, it just looked pretty buggy to other people who were not seeing you, have a full jetpack experience. To other people, you were just like standing still, like a stiff, and just floating into the air with a completely neutral idle pose. And it just looked weird. But with this feature, what you can do is like you can make the player who's flying on the jetpack play some custom fly animation, And now we can be flying around like Superman or like with some, floaty pose with their legs in the air. And that translates a lot better. That looks a lot more coherent, even to those who aren't running the portable experience. So that's a nice feature to keep in mind. The final thing I wanted to present here is the Decentraland cast, which I don't know how many people here might have heard about this. I know the DAO has used this in some event recently, but it has not had like a proper unveiling yet. And this is a feature that allows you to stream video from a scene. The benefits versus what was possible before are that one, there is no lag. This is because it uses the same comms infrastructure that is used for voice chat and for chat between players. So like you can just share your screen, your camera with everyone in the scene without any lag at all. Like if you've tried to do live events into the world before, you surely know that there's like a 14-second lag or something, and that really gets in the way if you're trying to do some kind of live, interaction with the people in the world. Thanks to this, that should be a lot smoother. And the other benefit of this is that it is way easier to set up. It's just like going to a URL and like clicking approve to share your camera, and that's it as a presenter. So yeah, like if you want, we can even do a little demo of this. If someone here has a Decentraland name and you want to be a volunteer, we can even go through the steps of setting that up, and it will like literally take like 5 minutes. So I think that could be a fun little experiment to do here. So someone here asks, will the other players see the jetpack or just the flying animation? But if the jetpack is part of the wearable you have on, then yes, they will see that. However, they won't be seeing any 3D models that are spawned by the experience. So if the experience includes, rendering an entity that is positioned relative to the player, that would only be seen by the player who's running the experience, potentially by other players who are also running the experience themselves. Yeah, what you will see is the wearables that the player has on and the emotes that they're performing, just as what happens, regularly when you see other players in the scene. All right. So without further ado, let's go into some more hands-on demos. I wanted to go into this one demo, which I think is a really nice example of portable experiences. So there's this portal example, which is one of my all-time favorite example scenes we have out there. Let's see it in the Spectre really quickly. So I'm joining the Inspector. This is an old school scene that was done on SDK6 by someone named Tak, who used to work in the content team. He was a machine. He did amazing and very, very neat and well polished examples. So yeah, this is what you see when you open it with the Inspector, and you can see there's a bunch of different entities. And like each entity has a name, and then in the code I am referencing those same entities. So for example, I am referencing something with a function engine.getEntity or null by name, looking for something called portalgun.glb. So I'm fetching the name that is referenced here. And if I were to change this name, then the code that references that would, no longer find that. And this if gun would return null, and like it would return false, and then like this function would never be called. Same applies to this card here. There's a card.glb, and through the editor, I'm able to give these things like static properties. I'm able to give these things, position, a scale, a rotation, and what 3D model to use, but I'm not able to give these things any interactive capabilities. But if I come here and fetch something named card.glb, Then I can use for example, use the utils library to give this a perpetual motion.start rotation function. Basically, I can make it spin indefinitely in the same direction. I can also give this a trigger area so that when you step on it, then stuff happens for you to collect the card. So I can, besides opening the editor, which I have here, and also run the scene as an example, and let's like properly see what the scene is doing, how it behaves when I play it as a player. Yes, Oddjob says there is currently no search for builder assets. When you can search DLBs, you add yourself. Yes, I am very much aware of that. In fact, when we were talking about smart asset supply items today, that was something we discussed. Possibly not right now, but it's absolutely a feature that we know we have to develop for sure. So what this scene is doing, by the way, is it's basically there's these two interactive things. There's the gun and the card. And let's go in the first person. When I step into the trigger area of the gun, collect it. I don't know if you heard the sound also. It also played the sound. And one thing to note is that the gun is part of the scene, right? It's attached to my avatar. But if I step outside the scene, see these red boxes, it's telling me that this is an asset that belongs only inside the scene. If I step out of the bounds, like if this was in production, this gun would no longer be rendered. Just keep that in mind for a minute or two later. So what I can do with this gun is I can shoot portal holes. If you played Portal, you'll be very familiar with this, and you'll even be kind of outraged about how much of a copyright infringement this is. But yeah, like we're still big fans of Portal. So I can shoot a blue and an orange portal, and I can jump between them, and yeah, to and fro between the two portals. So the other thing I wanted to show about this is that when I pick up this card, I actually added something sneaky here. I added, so this is what happens when you pick up the card. A few things happen, like including setting the scale of the card to 0, playing a sound, removing my gun from my hands, removing all of the portals that we previously added. That's all like, we don't have to go into the details and the specifics of these lines, but it's just doing those things. But then I'm doing this. I'm calling the spawn function and calling something that is stored under nicoe.dcl.eth. And this is a portable experience. So I previously uploaded a portable experience, which is basically this same thing, the whole portal gun thing, to this address here. So when in the scene I pick up the card and run this line of code here, I'm going to start running a portable experience. So here my gun disappeared, and I get shown this warning here. As a player, I'm always going to be presented with a confirmation before I run a portable experience, just to try to limit misuse. And I'm sure some people will want to take advantage of this and show spam or even have all kinds of like nefarious bad intentions. So also as a player, you're presented with a list of permissions that the portable experience is asking for. This, I don't know how well you can read this, but in this case, it's asking for permission to move your position. And it may ask for many other things. For example, if it wants to do anything regarding your wallet and the blockchain, it would have to ask for permission for that. But if it wants to do anything regarding servers and like fetching or sending data to external sources, it would also have to ask permission for that. So this is like not unlike what you would have in a mobile phone app, where the app is asking for permissions to use your camera, to use your GPS. And as a user, like you should be, suspicious of apps that ask for things that don't make sense given what the app claims to be doing, right? Like if you were to download an app for recording your voice, and that was asking for permission to use your camera, that's kind of weird. That might be a red flag to you, and that might make you think twice about downloading that. So that's like the intention of these permissions on the portable experiences as well. So if I hit OK, now I have a gun loaded again, but you will notice that this time the gun is not part of the scene. I am able to jump right out of the scene and carry that gun with me anywhere I want to go. So yeah, I can fire my gun in other places and just like around anywhere with my own portable experience. Disclaimer there: this only really works with SDK 7 scenes. Sadly, like when it's detecting like the collisions of where it hit, it's only really able to detect those with SDK 7 entities. So I'm really not able to use this gun everywhere, but yes, everywhere where there is an SDK 7 scene.
Somebody just asked, so is this gun now that's portable experiences, can everyone else see the gun as well, right?
No, they can't. No, because it is being, this is not a wearable I have on. This is an entity that is attached to my player's position. So yeah, it's like a scene content the scene that hasn't been loaded for others. It's only been loaded for me.
Hope that answers your question. It says, can you make it a hand wearable, for example, instead? Yes, that would be correct, right?
Yes. You could export this as as a smart wearable in the hand category, and that would work. I know that there has been some. I'm not very much in this topic, but I know that there has been some discussions about if hand wearables should also include things that you can hold in your hand. I know that there's been some argument about that, and some people were saying that hand wearables should not get in the way of you being able to grab onto other things. So I don't know about the correctness of what goes into the category, but certainly from a technical perspective, it's definitely possible.
Somebody else asks, can you trigger when gun is in hand that the wearable gets auto-equipped so others see it as well? I'm not sure if that makes sense.
So no, unfortunately, from a scene's code, it's never been a feature to be able to equip a wearable onto an avatar. Like that's always been something that players had to do themselves, and that in part is because the actual avatar is not within the render of the avatar is not within the scope of the scene, right? I mean, it's kind of like even like the rendering of avatars today is a second scene. It's a scene that exists. It's a global scene that exists separate from the scenes that you're standing in, that handles all of that work. So even though it would be a cool feature, and it's like I'm sure it's not impossible. I'm sure there's ways around for it, but it just has never been developed so far.
And there's also a couple more questions in the chat if you want me to just read it out to you, or do you want to take a quick look?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I'm looking at.
Oh, you're looking at perfect.
So yeah, the crypto trader asks, are there plans to make experiences tied to smart wearables visible to others nearby players? Smart wearable creates an object, other players can that object. There are, I mean, the idea definitely is on the table. It's not something that I'm working on right now, but it's definitely on the table. And it wouldn't be impossible to do at least some limited use cases. Perhaps not running code freely on everyone's machine, simply because that potentially can scale up a lot if you're surrounded by a lot of people. But potentially there's like some series of reasonable restrictions that can be allowed per portable experience or something like that. But so far that is not yet down on paper. So, and the question continues, what about opening up peer-to-peer network for users who have the same smart wearable active? Anyone with a portable gun can communicate with others, so you can spawn portals tracks. Actually, this is already the case. I mean, since portable experience is a global scene, you also have inter-scene communications, just as you do with regular scenes. So just as you can use the message bus within a single scene so that, the instance that I'm running my machine of that scene communicates with the instance you're running of your machine of that scene, the same applies to portable experiences. In fact, like in the early days when we were testing portable experiences for the first time, some of you might remember a couple of things we did on Christmas 2021, I think. So we did we actually did a couple of really interesting portable experience first experiments. One was a global snowball fight. So everyone, sorry, this was with smart wearables, right? So like we had a couple of like Christmas sweaters, some blue, some red, and yeah, like players would buy into one team or the other, and then there was a massive whole world snowball fight between the people with the red sweaters and people with the blue sweaters. And that was basically a global scene that was running, communicating every one of the players who had this sweater on with each other and keeping track of the score and showing, damage when you got hit and stuff like that. Another good experiment was like a more asymmetric multiplayer experience where we had Santa Claus running around with a jetpack on, dropping presents for everyone who was using a special pair of goggles. So everyone who had these goggles was able to run a portable experience where basically these presents were being dropped. And the guy wearing the jetpack, which in some cases was me, in some cases it was other people from the Central Foundation, would just like run this other portable experience that would allow the player running it to just like it was like pressing E. You would be dropping presents, and yeah, the dropping of those presents got communicated via a Coliseus server, and that got relayed to everyone who was running the glasses scene, so that they could see the presents fall and they could see when those presents were claimed by someone else. So it was first come first serve thing. That was a lot of fun, and like that kind of thing is now available for everyone out there to build. Um, so yeah, like between people running a same portable experience, like it's complete freedom to, you know, you can do everything that you can do in a regular scene, including sharing state between players and using third-party servers and all that. UI too, yes, you can have UIs in portable experiences as well. And in fact, I anticipate that a lot of our experiences will be probably mostly UI. For example, I know that right now there's work being done on an audio portable experience, which is basically um, like a kind of a Walkman. So you put on these headphones and you can listen to music from the Audio's catalog, which is a decentralized streaming, like audio streaming platform. And like that is basically all UI. Oddjob says the external server spun up by Lustrum made the Waypoint Pack PX possible. The Waypoint Pack PX, I'm not sure I've seen that one. What does the Waypoint Pack do? So in terms of demos, that's what I have, but I think it would be a really fun like test to try to set up something with one of these Decentraland cast scenes. So if anyone out there has a Decentraland name and wants to share screen for like 5 minutes, I think this would be a really fun experiment to do all together.
Yeah, I mean, I have my name or somebody in the audience. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, because it isn't showing. Yeah, if somebody in the audience wants to share their name, they can. Here, I'm trying to see if anybody has raising hand. Anybody wants to come up and volunteer? If not, you can use my name.
And in fact, we would need also for you to do the publishing. So I guess we would have to run it on your machine.
Yeah, right now that's why I have it. My one that I have, I've just deployed a world, like one of the basic templates on it, so you can just do whatever you want.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, if you want, and if no one else steps up as a volunteer, we can absolutely do it yours.
Cool. Last chance, anybody? Well, okay, we can just want me to just screen share mine and walk me through what to do.
Yeah, that sounds great. But first, let's take a little look at what Job shared here with another example of a further experience.
I can't hear the audio.
Well, try to.
Yeah, he's saying about 30.
Yes, I just said. So basically, you're gonna visit this location, -7, -84, up to the shady desert weather guide, and activate the ABC experience. Nice. So as a tour guide, you're able to add a series of waypoints. So I'm guessing that this UI here is only seen by in the tour or the tour guides. All right. So this other avatar is functioning as a follower of the tour. So she's seeing this UI. Excellent. So it also tells in what realm the tour is going on. So as as a player, you can switch realms to join the tour guide. By the way, the whole thing with realms has always been a bit of a UX problem. In fact, there is right now an initiative to try to remove the whole concept of realms from your experience as a player and try to keep things a lot more simple, so that you only feel like you're in one single realm and you don't have to be jumping between worlds all the time. Awesome. So yeah, in summary, like this second player was able to just click on the UI and get teleported to where that waypoint was, and the guy who's doing the tour guide is able to spawn multiple of these waypoints, I assume, and so you can create a whole series of places to visit as part of the tour, which is really cool. Yeah, imagine like with I'm sure you have a lot of experience with these tours, having a lot of like people getting lost along the way. I'm sure it's a very common experience. So yeah, this must really, really be useful.
Yeah, I've done that in the past with my own, like taking other people on tours, and they just get lost. You're like, I think this is awesome.
Right, Ferdinand, you wanna start out? Awesome. So feel free to share your screen with the selection right.
Okay. So where should I? Okay, should I be here or in a different?
There we go. Yes, same. So step one is gonna. I just shared in the chat the patient. Oh, sorry, that's not it. It's probably an internal document that I'm pretty sure that if you try to open it, you wouldn't have permissions to open anyway. Never mind. There you go.
Okay, cool. So down.
So yes, you should go into the first link there, which is the Decentraland cast streaming. Just go to view code and there it is, code and the green button. Yes.
Oh, I already have this downloaded. It's the whole. Yeah, I have this downloaded.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I did it like a week ago, possibly something.
Oh no, no. If it was a couple of weeks ago, then probably it's some different repository. Because this was uploaded, I think, like last Friday or Thursday or something like that. So there was a different example scene that looked the same, but that didn't have this whole streaming feature.
So I'm down.
So maybe.
Okay, so got it downloaded.
All right, cool. Now we should unzip it.
Okay, let me. Now I have all my folders to deal with, so that's like great. Being put on the spot with download. Okay. Extract.
Seeing all of my open tabs also. I had to do some cleanup before that, but even with that, it's not even close to what I should be.
Okay, I'm in there right now, and okay, cool. I have it downloaded.
So let's open the folder with Visual Studio Code.
Let's go to. Let's hope my computer doesn't crash with everything open though, because I'm recording this. Okay, let me go. Let me I'm gonna change this. Let me adjust my recording for a second. Move Visual Studio here, and now try to screen. I'm gonna share my screen so you can see the Visual Studio Code.
Right, because I think we're only seeing the browser, right?
There you go. So now it should be. Is it showing you it?
It's loading in right now.
That's why I was like, I hope somebody else volunteers. Just because I knew, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna push it. We might crash everything, but it's part of the fun. It's like, hey, why don't we use everyone in the audience? It's like, well.
I see a screen now. Yes, looks like it's working.
So file, new window, right?
And open file, and that's the for what you just done. No, first we need to open the folder.
Okay, that's.
Oh, yeah, that also works. Yeah, yes, you can do it now. Right.
See, I have too many things. Recent. Okay, this is the one. Okay, just click there or double click into.
Double click.
Okay, just select. We're good.
Okay, super.
Cool.
So now we can go into scene.json and change the properties. We only really need to change one property there, which is scroll down a little. There in the world configuration, and there where we have the your name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Save. Okay.
And if you want, we can run the preview of the scene, although we won't see the stream going on now. But yeah, click there and scene.
Luckily, I got this all working today. This was the day.
Yes. The bingo game.
Magical assistant. This is half the fun things when loading, and this part usually takes a little bit, no matter what. At least it has for me. Instant dependencies.
Right, right. I think it has to do with the project having an outdated version of the SDK, or and like the editor like enforcing that you always use the last one.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm seeing down there that it's installing now more.
They're adjusting. So the project was built with with a loose intermediate update. The name of the version was actually a very long and ugly string, and now it changed to 738, which is the latest official release. So now it looks like it's properly actually running the scene as it used to be.
I'm watching all of my windows and everything. Everything seems to be running. I try to move my mouse slow. If I don't appear, you know what happened. I'm just so excited it actually is working. I was downloading everything, opening up all these like sample files. It was so much fun. Uh-oh, did I jinx it?
I think we're still in the good path. I mean, I've been here a lot of times.
Okay.
I still have lost faith. Um, but yes, I mean, this process is extremely easy, but like I think like 70% of the time we're just loading stuff. So okay, that is what the scene looks like, and that like until we publish it, we won't be seeing anything being streamed there. But let's close the preview and actually publish. So
I can
yeah,
publish
go
scene?
to yeah, yes, no, up there, yeah. No, not those three dots. The other three dots. Jesus. Yeah.
Okay, twirl. That's
So that's right. Yes.
See? I'm glad it's not just me sometimes. Just like,
And by the way, for signing with your wallet, are you using MetaMask in the browser, or do you have like something on your phone?
in the browser.
So then you will have to open it in the browser to do that. So first of all, if you go to Connect Wallet, you will be offered a few like phone-based options. But first, like click on the background of that window, and there the open in browser option appeared.
Oh.
So at the very top, like,
Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so now I should connect via this, correct?
yes.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, like one thing that is really cool about Visual Code is that each one of these tabs is basically a browser and has all of the power and capabilities of a browser. However, you don't have Visual Studio Code and your extensions installed in that browser, so you're not able to like link to MetaMask and things like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now I can sign and deploy. It's all good.
Yes. Yes.
This is exciting. Oh, it's successful. Now we can go visit my.
Yes. Now we can jump into your world, and we will also need to open a second link, which is the streaming service. Sure. So, by the way, I'm sharing a link to the docs about this.
Cool. So do I need to open? What do I need to do now?
So you need to open this second link I just shared, the cast.decentraland.org. You can close this. And by the way, I recommend that you close the preview because otherwise you have two versions of Decentraland running at the same time, and that will be very slow.
Okay, so close my Visual Studio, correct?
Yes. Yes.
It's okay. Close that. I've already. Okay. Looks like it's doing something.
And what was again the name you had?
Eschchaton, so ESCHATON.
Sorry, give me a second. Type in the rest of the URL first.
Oh, doesn't say found it.
Just maybe if you write .dcl.eth.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
So now basically we have a streaming app there. It's no different from using Skype or whatever. But the benefit of this is that it also streams straight into the Decentraland using the same comms service as the Decentraland. So it should be super fast to also see stuff happening in there.
Oh, wow.
So now we just need to jump into your world, which is already published.
What is the quickest? I don't want to like deploy something I shouldn't deploy at this.
No, it shouldn't take deploying anything else. Like it's just like accessing this URL with the name you should put.
There we go. Hopefully. Uh-oh.
This, by the way, is not related to the DAO grant for low latency servers. No, this uses like it literally like involve like the guys from the platform team saying, okay, like we have this really cool service which we're using for video, like for audio streaming. You know, it also supports video streaming. Like we can easily hook it up to also do video, and like everything else kind of like was a logical conclusion from that.
I'm trying to close down as many windows as I can. I have so many windows open right now. I'm sure that's not making it any easier. And recording and running Discord. That's when you pray to the computer gods. They've been nice so far, so I better shut up and not jinx it. Okay, I'm closing everything. I think I have everything closed but that now, so. I'm glad we're recording this so then I can rewatch what we just did. Play around.
Oh. Did we right? Right, well.
Did I not put the right thing in?
That we did. Just in case, are we sure that we didn't have any typo in the world name?
It should be the right one. Here, let me check.
I'm also loading myself, but so far it's still loading.
It should have gone to that build, right? All of that, everything.
Yes, yes. But when something fails, it defaults to loading Jensen Plasma.
S Cheton. Yes. Yeah, that's the right name. ESCHATON.
I mean, I think we did everything right. No, actually, it worked for me, and I am there.
Screen share.
Okay,
I'll
sure.
stop sharing then.
A couple of other people are there as well. However, I am not seeing anything on the screen though. And one limitation of this is that only the owner of the DCL name or people who are given permission by the owner are able to do the actual streaming to the world. Okay. So go back to this link that I shared before. This one that says cast.decentraland.org. And I imagine that there you'll see some kind of option to turn on the casting.
Okay, it says learn more. Let me see. I'm just saying connect. And then, oh, I see a bunch of people.
Here the UI says no streams available. There isn't anything running yet.
I don't see the option to add anything, but I wonder why I can't.
Maybe you need to connect with your wallet somehow. Is there maybe any MetaMask pop-up waiting to be seen?
Let me try it one more time. I think it did it before properly. It shows that there are other people. Yeah, it asked me to connect. I connected with my wallet, and then I see you in there. It says Nico.
Okay. Maybe you need to like accept some pop-up asking to use your camera or screen share or something.
Yeah, here, let me screen share so you can watch what mine shows. Okay, this. So would it be this right here?
Right. Yeah. So if you select something, yeah.
I can select anything. Okay, so we can just select us.
See anything so far?
The infinite screen.
Now I see a button that says select streaming video as part of the scene. And if I click there and pick, um, yes, I'm seeing your screen being streamed in Decentraland.
Can you share the link to the parcels? Because I can't get on.
Sure. So this is the link.
I feel like I just learned to flap my wings this morning. Okay, let's see. Very cool. I love that shot. DCL dating. So cool. That's like the easiest I've ever seen any video be deployed ever.
Yeah, by far. No cores, no like delays or crazy latency problems or any of that. If people can see you in world, then they can see the video you stream.
That is so cool. Okay, I'm making sure. Yep, it's still recording. I have like 15 screens now open, making sure. Once I'm in here to get the video playing, I have to just click on the screen.
So there's a button on the top right of the scene. Let's just say something. Although now the button says no streams available.
Huh.
Wait, is that thing? Just it does for me.
Let me try again.
And by the way, I mean that this is a simple example scene that does this, which I mean doesn't have the best usability in the world either. But really, this feature is it's about being able to point a video source to this. So you have a video texture, and you can point a video texture to one more possible kind of content, which is something sourced from this communication service. So what I'm saying with this is that you can build scenes with complete freedom around how you want this interaction to work. You could even, for example, have a scene where everyone is holding up a little screen on their heads and they're streaming their own video into the scene.
That's so cool. Oh, you're gonna have to.
Stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Just
one. It's like 30 people.
Basically, what is technically possible. But you could also make the whole like turning on of the video and selecting channels and all of that a lot more friendly, or even completely automatic in the background. You could have, I don't know, some kind of an admin user who is managing selecting who to show as a streamer and switching cameras and all that as well.
That would be fun. Yeah, at this point, I think I'm pushing my computer to the point of like it's just trying to load right now happily. But that is so cool. I'm gonna definitely keep playing in there after this. Let's see if it's still. So for everybody else there, can you is it streaming at all, or is it still black right now from what I did, whatever I did in here?
Not for me right now.
For me, it's just a white screen. Nah, no streams. But I did it for a little bit. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, it did for a little bit.
For anything live, to have work with all these people on my computer running so many things right now, I'm very surprised. Let me see. I'm gonna let's see if I can share. Here, I'll share this part right here for the last bit. Can you guys? Here's where it should be streaming, and everyone else saw but me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think odd job. I think that's your next FAFO session. 38 video streams at once. Let's see how far we can go before we crash everything. That was awesome. Cool. Well, I'm not sure if you have anything else you wanted to share, or if anybody in the audience has any questions.
I mean, I don't have any other things to unveil, but definitely, like, we can engage into discussing any of them.
Awesome. So if anybody in the audience, oh, here he is. Odd job. Come on up. Join us. Welcome.
I think I accepted correctly. Am I talking?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for a very informative session. And Existence and Cheddar Queso did some FAFOing last Tuesday, so just so you go with the web builder. And we definitely fucked around until we found out certain things. And just the I guess my question is like, how precise is one going to be able to be? Like, what are your intentions for this? Because placement with with an orbiting camera is it's pretty rough, and using WASD to sort of do like a dolly pan sort of thing. Like, the camera will only rotate. So one, will there be any plans for like an orthographic view, like a top, front, side option in there, or will it just be kind of like in world perspective camera for placement?
So for the time being, we are not working on that, but there's nothing stopping us from adding that kind of feature. One little thing that is maybe not so obvious to a few people, and that I myself, didn't discover initially, but it is like a really cool feature, is that double click on any item there, you get zoomed into it right away. And sometimes be a lot of help. Let me share my screen just 1 minute and show it.
Oh, here, let me.
Okay, yeah, that was something that we were specifically looking for. So like in Blender, if you hit the on the number keypad, if you hit the dot, then you'll frame up your selected item, and then you orbit around it.
So we don't have a keyword shortcut for that, but you can do this. Let me know when you're seeing my screen.
Yeah, I see it.
So if you just double click on any one thing here, get zoomed into it.
And then but there's no way to like orbit around it though. You still have to use WA.
No. Okay, that's right. Yeah,
but that's still very handy. Thank you.
It's somewhat clunky. I can tell, but yeah, like we can improve that. It's not in the immediate plans right now, but it's absolutely something that can be worked on. Yeah.
I have one other quick question, and that was having to do when Fractillions was attempting to deploy, like the sign and deploy. And using the portable experience, there's and I'm not remembering exactly what it is, but there's some sort of argument that you can put in Visual Studio Code when launching, when deploying it, so that it with the portable experience that I showed earlier, I needed to have administrative rights for laying down the waypoints, and then I needed just basic user to be able to go to the waypoint. And there was some sort of argument or whatever that we're supposed to be able to use, but we ended up having to just type it like ampersand and then like Web3 or whatever. Do you know about that? Is that something that would be fixed? Because that was, not a big deal. But again, it's nice to just be able to have the argument and then cycle through that and use that to deploy rather than having to edit the URL. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, no. I'm not aware of what it was that had to be said.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I know, you can just go to publish to your world, and if this is a portal experience, it gets published as a portal experience to that URL. And I'm pretty sure I was able to do it successfully.
Okay.
And maybe, I mean, at some point, maybe there was something broken and there had to be some crazy workaround that involved maybe Killian's custom server as a way to deploy or something like that. But as far as I'm aware, like this now is working as intended and should just be a matter of deploying from here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, now I can't see your stream. I guess I'm the only one. But luckily, the whole session I was able to see it, so and record it. But thank you, Todd, for coming on up. And does anybody else have any questions? If not, we'll start wrapping it up. I think everyone's quiet. But yeah, Nico, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Anytime. Yeah, like this. Like I really want to see how this gets adopted and what people come up with combining these things in crazy ways.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see. I'm sure everyone's going to start pushing the envelope, and you had lots of great ideas. I think for one, even just the video stream idea that you just had would be a lot of fun to test out and see. I just want to get it to work on one for me, and then I'll keep adding. That I think we'll wrap it up, and just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has been with us throughout this session. And I will be uploading this here probably either later today or have it up early in the morning. Yeah, we'll probably have another one of these sessions in about 2 or 3 weeks posted. But Nico, you're always welcome to come here and share away. This is amazing.
Happy to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, well, have a great rest of your day, everyone. Catch you guys later. Bye.
Everyone, thank you for coming.